Labor Day weekend brought big crowds to Georgia's lakes and rivers, and while the state's DNR kept a close eye, the numbers show both trouble and some relief on the water. Final numbers out yesterday showed the wardens made 19 arrests for boating under the influence. Most of these were in the Gainesville region. There was one incident which resulted in an injury that was out of the Albany area, and it was a rare Labor Day weekend as the DNR did not report a single drowning or a boating fatality. Here to look at those numbers is Mark McKinnon with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me today.
All right, Mark, when you look at the past weekend, Labor Day weekend, what stood out to you most about these numbers on Georgia's waterways?
Well, we are very grateful that we did not have any loss of life this Labor Day weekend. Last year on Labor Day weekend, we did have a drowning, and so this year is certainly an improvement over that. However, you know, we don't like to see those boating under the influence arrest. Even one of those is too many. It just puts people at risk, and so we'd love to see those numbers come down every year. But yeah, overall, it was a good Labor Day weekend. The weather was nice. There were a good number of boaters out. But I think the college football season may have kept some folks off the lakes this past weekend.
Do you think that was the reason why we kept those numbers down as far as fatalities or drownings?
Well, you know, it's hard to tell, but you know, college football certainly has an impact, especially in the South. Also, we had some cooler temperatures, and that tends to keep people off the waterways too if it's a little cooler over the weekend. Now, you know, even though unofficial boating season ended on Labor Day weekend, we've still got a lot of warm weather and warm weekends coming up, including this coming weekend. So there'll still be a lot of boating out there, and people need to continue to practice safe boating.
Yeah, speaking of which, we've seen year to date about 271 DUI arrests and nearly 60 drownings. How does Labor Day weekend fit into the bigger picture of water safety in Georgia?
Well, you know, Labor Day weekend, 4th of July weekend, and Memorial Day weekend, those are the three weekends every year that we have the largest number of boaters out on our lakes. And so our officers are out there trying to make sure that people are boating safely. They're not out there to ruin folks' weekends. They're out there, you know, to make sure that they go home safely at the end of the day. And so, you know, but it's important that the boaters do their part. They need to make sure they have the proper safety equipment or wearing life jackets, and especially they're not boating impaired.
Yeah.
That is such a critical thing that our guys are out there looking for, because it only takes one mistake out there, and when you're impaired, it's a lot easier to make those mistakes.
Yeah, Mark, how does the DNR get ahead of these incidents? How do you guys warn the public about being safe on the waterways?
Well, as far as impaired boating, basically there are no warnings. The warning is what we tell them ahead of time, because if you're found to be impaired on the lake, there's no other option but to make an arrest, and you'd be taken into custody. So we're trying to avoid that by telling folks, hey, get a designated operator. You know, just like you would if you were in your car and going to a party, have someone who is not drinking operate that boat. And that way you've taken that out of the equation. Also, be sure you've got those life jackets, and especially for children under 13, the law says they have to be wearing those if the boat is in motion. So just a few simple things that you can do ahead of time before you go to the water and make those plans, then it can make for a nice, safe day and a nice, safe weekend, and then you get a chance to go back another day.
That's absolutely right. Any lessons learned this weekend that your department will take to approach next year's peak season?
Well, you know, our guys are always prepared, and they're always out looking to make sure that folks are doing the right thing. And, you know, a lot of courtesy on the water goes a long way. And so they encourage that. A lot of it is education. But we will have our guys out throughout the year, actually. But as we still have some warm weekends left, they'll be out, and they'll be looking. But just get out there, enjoy the water, but do it safely.
Yeah, life jackets, life jackets, life jackets.
Absolutely.
Mark McKinnon, thanks for joining us this morning. Thanks for your insight. Really appreciate it.